Thank you for coming to this session on no coding required. How did we build a mobile-ready news application leveraging Power Apps? Before I start on the content, let me just see a quick show of hands on how many people are aware of Power Apps or have been using Power Apps. Oh, that's awesome. It's a pretty good balance. So we will talk about a new service which we have built as part of our core services engineering within Microsoft. By way of introduction, my name is Ilyas Chaudhary. I'm an engineering manager within the core services engineering. Our team internally builds and deploys solutions for our Microsoft users. So we are, as we were traditionally called as Microsoft IT, now we have been referenced as core services engineering. So today during our session, we will look at a quick introduction on the business applications field news service. So this is the app which we have built and which is live in production, built on Power Apps. We will talk about the audience in terms of why was it important and required for this application to be built and how we built it in the record time. We will also look at the features. I do have a short video of like 40 seconds. We'll play that, and then we'll dive deep into the actual implementation on how we have enabled the scenario. So in terms of the application itself, the need for the application arose from keeping our audience in the field. We have a huge sales organization who support the business applications group and the platform for our external customers and partners. And with the work which is happening on the business applications platform, we are literally announcing our new features, new releases. There are so many good bite-sized information available through podcast, through the articles, through the blogs. Our challenge was, how do we keep our users up to date on this information and not spam users' inbox in terms of like sending out the updates or the links to the articles. Now this audience which we are talking about is spread across the world, so we have the global audience. So the need for this application arose from the basic necessity of keeping our field sellers and the solution specialists up to date in terms of what's happening in the technology world or on the product world. So as you see, this application caters to a huge global audience, and it literally keeps the users informed on strategy, on the product roadmap, on the blogs and the contents around business applications. As we see, we have like the specialist and the generalist field who are connected and engaged with the business applications group, which is the product team in terms of what's coming. We also publish most of the major events on this field news application, which means for the field sellers, they can go in and they can look at the major events which are happening on this domain. And lastly, as I said, we didn't want to spam users' inboxes or through Teams channels, like publishing every time there is an update. So this is the application which is used to keep the users up to date. This is just a glimpse of like who are the users of this application. As I said, we have a huge global sales presence in terms of the sellers spread across the global region, across multiple geographies and supporting different customers and partners. So our biggest challenge was, how do we keep them up to date and how do we keep them apprised with what's happening in the product side or on the platform side. And our target audience was specialist and generalist field sellers. But once you look at the demo of this application, you'll have ideas on how do you publish this for your internal audience. They may not be sales users, they may be just your internal group people who want to keep up to date on what's happening in your business world. So let me quickly play this video.
It's hard to keep up with the constant stream of business application news. Wouldn't it be nice to always have a consolidated, organized, and up-to-date look at what's new? Introducing Business Applications Field News, a mobile app built with Microsoft Power Apps on Azure. Get all the trending news from sales, product marketing, and research and development in one place, while gaining access to a calendar of upcoming events related to business applications. From your mobile phone, Download Power Apps. Then search for the Business Applications Field News mobile app. Stay in charge of your inbox, keep current, and showcase what's possible. It's hard to keep up with the constant stream of business application news.
All right, so as you saw, right, I mean, this is the use case of like how are we publishing the news content to the actual users. Now what I have here is the Power Apps editor. I'm sure the people who have raised hands in terms of who are working on the Power Apps have seen this interface. This is the web admin interface. Now one thing to notice is on the Power Apps, there is something called as the canvas and the model-driven apps. So you can change the context of your Power Apps admin itself depending on what we choose. Power Apps, as it is also known as the canvas-driven applications, is more of a scenario wherein you are starting with a blank template without importing anything from the existing applications. I know there were a few sessions from the CDS team today who were talking about the Power Apps. If you have missed those, attend that or live stream it through the recording, because that actually talks about the context and the architecture of CDS and Power Apps. So here if you see, I have a demo environment, so this is not my production environment. What you see here is like the three contents or the three applications which have been published or which I am the admin on. The two which I am going to show here are the ones which are used for publishing this new service. So as it's always with any interface, there is an admin interface wherein the administrator or the content admin of this application can go in and push out the updates. So let's say if there is an event coming up next month and my content admin has to push out that event, they will use the admin module to go and publish that. And then there is the actual subscriber interface, which is what the users will see when they log into my Power Apps tenant within Microsoft. If this is in production, they'll be able to see the actual news content. So from here, if I jump on this is my admin demo module. We'll get into the editor mode quickly, but here, since I'm on this tab, what I wanted to show or highlight is the built-in analytics and the telemetry. So for every Power Apps which I publish in the production, there are a few telemetry use cases or the analytics use cases which are enabled out of the box. In this, if you see, it actually shows the usage of the application. So who are my users, how many users are using it, and then basically in terms of their activities on the application. So you don't have to worry about publishing or enabling the telemetry. This comes in out of the box with the Power Apps. So this is what my actual application looks like, and this is the administrator console or the admin application. Now if you see, what we have done here is this has been designed right in Power Apps without any template. So when we started building this, we started with a blank slate. As I said, we enabled and published this application from development to production in the record 3 weeks' time, which means I had people from the business team who were participating in this project initiative, or as we call it, the hackathon. I had developers who were working on some of the basic code. So as the title of the session says, you don't have to know very elaborate coding skills. And that's why Power Apps is called as like no code or low code, which is like just literally using some of the coding practices, you can enable the application. So in the admin console, and we will go into the run phase of the admin application, how it looks like. If you see, this is what we have built, calling something as the cards, which means like we have enabled the each of these sections which you look at. So in terms of the categories, we have published these categories, and you will see where these categories come into play when I actually go into the run mode of the application. And then literally this is more of a context or the content which the administrators can keep adding to. So this is what the application looks like in the real time. Maybe I am right here. So this is what the admin experience looks like. If you look at this for my content administrator, if they have to publish any new content, all they have to do is go and click on the new article, which is what will help them publish a new article or a content. So if you look at this scenario here, as I was calling out, we have something called as a category, which is a drop down or a pick list. Now the best part of this is because it is built on Power Apps and it is leveraging CDS, the categories itself are not hard-coded, which means my administrator or the content admin can go in and click on this and create a new category, and it is available on the runtime to the actual user. I can work on like what is the notification for this kind of an app, which means do I have to send in a notification on a daily basis or maybe on an hourly basis or weekly basis. And once I publish this is all executed using Flow in the backend. So that's where the entire beauty of the Power Apps comes into play. So while adding the new article, I can add the title, I can add the abstract, which could actually contain the URL of the article. I can tag it as a spotlight, which means it will be available right on the header banner. I'll show you the actual user interface. And if there are any tags, I can add the tags which are searchable within the application itself. There is one more great thing which we have built in, which is the calendar control. So if you see, as I said, there is a use case of like adding content related to the events. Now this is where most of the sales users, if they are working in a certain geography, let's say my Europe sales users, if I want to make them aware of a event coming up in Redmond, I can go and publish a new event as an administrator. So all I do is I can select the event start date and the end date, and then add a description and the location about the event. Now what this does is, in the traditional way, I would have sent out a S+ or an invite to their email calendars. They would actually have to go in and look at it. Now as a user, when this is published, if I am a user in the application, which I'm going to change my context here. So this is what the actual user sees. So as a subscriber of the application, when I go into the application, this is what is the spotlight area, which means anything which is more major executive engagement or a spotlight. I had a checkbox which said spotlight. If I select that, it will appear on the header. And I can select the image which goes with it. And the rest of the things, if you see, are all of the articles which my administrator, the content administrator, has published. So literally for anything on business application, I as a user don't have to go to multiple places, multiple blogs. If my administrator is doing his or her job properly, I can come at this place and I can look at all the announcements or the events or the content related to this, to business applications. So this is what I'll just scroll down. If you see, like it continues and it can last in this as long as I decide to keep it as an administrator, which means if I don't have to have a list of like 100+ events if they have occurred in the past, I can go in and archive those, or I can go in and delete those. So from here, if you see as a user, now how do I know about the events? So as an administrator, if I have published an event, this is what my calendar control looks like. Now, what it shows here is what are the upcoming events, and then the prerequisite for this is the administrator has to go in and add the event. But once it's added, all of the events related to business applications can actually be seen in one place. So like someone added invite, if there is another Gartner conference happening on, let's say, September 30th, and if I have to be aware of it as a user, or if my administrator adds it as an event, I can go in and click on that. So let's say if I see what's happening on 29th, it's gonna show that there is an event happening on Dynamics 365 Saturday, which is more of our community event. It's been driven by James Phillips, who is the CVP of Business Applications. So he does these tour of the community across the regions and participates and does the listening sessions from the users like you, users like me. So feedback is what our product team is encouraging. So events like these, most of our sales users are very interested to sit in and participate, because then they can hear to the actual customers and the partners' feedback on what's working and what's not working. Lastly, as I said on here, on the telemetry itself, as I said, usage was one of the telemetry. The another one is location. So for my specific application, I can see where is the traffic coming from. So if I have more users sitting in and accessing the application in Europe versus traffic coming from Redmond, I can see all of those details and the breakdown through the out-of-the-box telemetry. Now, it's okay, don't be surprised by these numbers. As I said, this is my demo application, so that's why you don't have a lot of usage. And the last thing is the editor itself. So how did we enable this for the end user? So we started with a blank template, as we call it in the Canvas application. We started with a blank canvas, and then all of the content which you see here are actually published as the web cards. So my web card includes multiple controls, which means for an article kind of a web card like this, I have a content title, I have a URL, I can design it based on the web card, and then once it's rendered, it is rendered as an application for the end user. So let me quickly switch back. We did the demo. So where are we going forward in terms of what is next for this application? Right now, what we saw is there is nothing which is specific by the role. So today, even if I am a solution specialist or a technical solution manager, I will be able to see all of the content. One of the feedback which we have received is how do you make it or enable it by the roles? So we are working on that, and we will be able to leverage the Dynamics 365 and the CDS capabilities for enabling that. We are looking at enabling the cross-application discoverability, which means how do we let the user switch context between the multiple Power Apps and come back to this application. So that has been one of the feedback. And then there is also a request for the Bing text-to-speech API, wherein the users don't want to search because they might be on the road or they might be in the field. How do we enable the speech scenarios? So those are some things which are in the backlog, and we have a very active community within Microsoft who are using this application and who are providing a lot of feedback. So that's how we are maturing this application. I think the core crux of this session is if you are looking at enabling anything similar to this, it took us 3 weeks to do that. It's gonna be same or much easier depending on your scenario. And without doing any coding, you will be able to stand up a news publishing service like this in a record time. That's the flexibility of Power Apps. Please do spare some time, take evaluation of the session. That's how we improve our session. So please share your feedback. If you have any other questions for me, I'm gonna be here in the booth. So please stop by and ask me any questions. Thank you for attending.